November 2021. I had just landed in Las Vegas, the city of lights, excitement, and, as I would soon learn, something far darker. I was here for a jiu-jitsu tournament, traveling solo, a decision I would soon regret. Since I was on a budget, I booked an Airbnb near the Vegas Strip. It wasn't fancy, but it was convenient. I made the reservation quickly, not paying much attention to the details. Big mistake. The first red flag? The host's profile picture was just a flower, no face, no real identity. Still, the reviews were good, so I shrugged it off. But the second red flag? The key code to my door was literally 1234567. I laughed at the absurdity, but deep down, something felt off. That uneasy feeling? It was just getting started. It was around 9:30 p.m., and I was lying in bed, exhausted from traveling. The room was small, just a studio attached to the host's house, with only one way in and out. Just as I was about to drift off, tap, tap, tap. I sat up. The window was covered with thick drapes, blocking my view of whoever was outside. I cleared my throat and called out, "Hello?" Silence. A full minute passed before, tap, tap, tap. This time, I responded louder. "Who's there?" Again, nothing. My pulse quickened. I grabbed my phone and messaged my Airbnb host. "Hey, is that you at the window?" An hour passed before I got a reply. "Oh, I was going to bring you some water, but I thought you were asleep." At 9:30 p.m., something didn't add up. By midnight, I still couldn't sleep. Every instinct told me not to let my guard down. Then I heard it. The soft, unmistakable sound of buttons being pressed on my door lock. I froze. Someone was outside, trying to get in. The lock disengaged. The door began to open. Without thinking, I sprang from the bed, slamming it shut with my full weight. I felt resistance. Someone was pushing back. I shouted, "This is my room. Get the hell out." A deep voice on the other side responded, "No, this is my room." Chills shot down my spine. Middle. That was my host's name. Was this them? Or someone else? I wasn't waiting to find out. I grabbed my phone and screamed into it as I called 911. Loud enough for whoever was on the other side to hear. "I'm calling the police. Get out." Suddenly, the pressure on the door released. They were gone. The police arrived within minutes. They questioned the host, who kept changing their story about who had tried to enter my room. First, they claimed it was a misunderstanding. Then, they said it was a maintenance check. But the cops? They weren't surprised at all. Apparently, this wasn't the first time they had been called to this address. I packed my bags and left immediately, jumping into an Uber and getting the hell out of there. To this day, I have no idea who tried to get into my room that night. A robbery? Maybe. Something worse? Possibly. But one thing is certain, I'll never book an Airbnb the same way again. If you're traveling alone, always trust your instincts. Double-check reviews, verify hosts, and most importantly, never ignore the red flags. Because sometimes, a cheap stay might just cost you your life. I had a job interview in Arizona, and since the drive from my place was long, I decided to turn it into a short trip. Hotels were expensive, so I found an Airbnb that was half the price of a small house on a dead-end road, surrounded by nothing but desert. At first, it seemed peaceful. The place was clean, and the view from the backyard was stunning. I brought my laptop to work remotely during the day and planned to leave on Friday after my Tuesday interview. But I had no idea I was being watched. It was Monday night, the day before my big interview. I was sitting in the living room researching the company when I heard a tap. Not a knock, not the wind. Just a single, light tap against the window. My eyes snapped to the left. Darkness. I hesitated but forced myself to check. Nothing. Maybe it was just a bug hitting the glass. Arizona has plenty of those. Still, something felt off. Tuesday went smoothly, the interview went well, and I spent the rest of the day exploring the town. By night, I was back at the Airbnb, relaxing on the porch, enjoying the desert breeze. I didn't know that someone else was out there too, watching. Later that night, while watching Breaking Bad, it happened again. Tap. I froze. I knew this wasn't a bug. I rushed to the window, no one. This time, I wasn't taking any chances. I checked the doors, the windows, the front porch. Still nothing. But then, I stepped onto the back porch and heard something in the distance. Click. A tongue-clicking sound. Low, slow, deliberate. My stomach twisted. The sound came from the darkness beyond the backyard light. I shouted into the night, demanding to know who was there. And then another click. I squinted into the darkness. That's when I saw it. A shadow. A person. Standing eerily still, dressed in dark clothes, almost blending into the night. I took a step forward but stopped. Something about this felt wrong. You're on private property. Get out of here before I call the cops. The figure didn't run. They walked away. Slowly. I stood there, heart pounding. Was that the Airbnb host? A stranger? Or was this something far worse? The next night, I was trying to ignore what had happened. Maybe it was a drifter. Maybe it was nothing. I was in bed, laptop open, watching Netflix to distract myself. No noises, no taps, silence. I turned off the light. Click. A small, muffled sound. Inside the room, I turned my head slowly. The closet door. It was open, just a crack. I froze. My brain screamed at me to move, but my body wouldn't listen. Then, from the darkness of the closet, I heard it again. Click. Screw this. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my keys and ran. I sat in my car, with the engine running, staring at the house. Waiting. Watching. I called 911. When the police arrived, they did a full sweep of the place. The Airbnb was small, with no places to hide. They found nothing. No signs of forced entry. Which meant, whoever was inside didn't break in. They had a key. I packed up and left that night for a hotel. I contacted Airbnb and the host. The response? No one else has access to the house. I only got a partial refund, but that was the least of my concerns. Because to this day, I still don't know who was in that house with me. But they knew I was there, and they were waiting.